Yo, what's up gamers? It's Ryan 6 days a week, and if you have been out of the loop in terms of all things Dark and Darker, I have some exciting news for you. Ironmace just had their first live interview in over 10 months, where they spoke with OnePeg about the upcoming content patch that's scheduled to release on November 22nd, sometime in the evening if you're in the United States. This wipe will be a season wipe, so your character levels, stash, additional tabs, and triumph level will be completely reset. The only things that you will carry over from the previous season will be your character's name, any unspent shards, red or blue, and any purchased skins or emotes. In this video, I'm going to cover everything that is confirmed by Terence, the CEO of Ironmace, that is scheduled to arrive with the wipe next week, as well as what is expected to follow up in the December/January mid-season update. Also, we'll touch a bit on what the team is working on beyond that, so stuff that's more than 2 months down the line. At the end of the vid, we'll also be taking a look at some of the previous Discord statements made by the lead developer, SDF, that I found especially interesting, as they hint at some of the less talked about development goals, so we can really put together some sort of roadmap here. Let's start with the questing system, which was discussed in the interview along with this concept image right here. I'll briefly go over what was covered by Terence. He mentioned around 30 quests will be added to start testing the questing system, and they will mostly be simple in design, so survival, fetch, kill, and some achievement-based quests like killing a boss a certain number of times. These quests will build up merchant favor, or affinity, which in return expands their crafting and purchase offers. Other quest rewards will include various stash upgrades and storage items, which were introduced in our most recent wipe.
Or three hotfixes ago, we put in the new extended stash. And so now you can actually unlock extended stash through quests also, not just the money, not just the gold. One of the other quests is that the gold chest that almost no one in the game has right now. We're gonna just put that as a quest item too, right? So things like this.
Ironmace also intends to use the quest system to begin introducing some of the game's lore or backstory.
So in terms of the story and the lore, this is going to be our first pass at now actually kind of building out. So we actually have a writer that's professional writer kind of helping us do this stuff, and we're going to start kind of figuring out what's the actual lore of the game.
Along with the quest system, we're going to see the introduction of adventure points, the game's new seasonal ranking system. Players will accumulate adventure points through the various dungeon activities or end of season rewards, which include cosmetic rewards like colored usernames, unique class borders, and exclusive skins. But they may also include functional rewards like starter gold given to the player at the beginning of the next wipe. Again, this is a concept image and not a screenshot, so it may change by next Wednesday. Exact adventure point values for each dungeon activity was not discussed in the interview, but Terence did share a concept image of their new adventure result summary, which will replace the end of raid screen in high roller only. From this image, we can see that PvE kills, PvP kills, chest looting, and extracting all increase your points. It's worth pointing out here too that adventure points themselves may actually become the new high roller queue currency and replace the gold fee. On top of the end of raid statistics, we are also going to get a personalized statistics page in the lobby menu, which includes games played, players killed, deaths, and much more. According to Terence, Ironmace has been tracking personal stats for quite some time now, so we should expect to see our previous season performance here as well. While we're on UI elements, I do want to add in that Terence briefly brought up the in-game friends list, as it is currently on track to be finished by the update next week. Prior to early access, there were no plans to develop a friends list, as other launchers had that functionality built in. But of course, things got a little complicated. As for PvE content, the only new monster that was confirmed so far for the content patch was the Cyclops, the new solo-only boss. Details for the most part were kept hidden, but Ironmace did share with us a short video showcasing the design. To wrap up the confirmed content, Terence stated that a minor attribute rework will take effect in the next wipe. as we will be seeing 2 new primary attributes introduced to help balance out the power of strength and agility. Right now, strength dictates your character's physical power and max health. Agility improves your character's move speed, attack speed, and has a 40% contribution to your character's interaction speed. With the new rework, Vigor will take over the health component of strength, and Dexterity will take over the attack speed and interaction speed components of agility. There was some discussion to keep some of the max health contribution attached to strength at a 25-75% split, but it sounds like these exact values are still subject to change. And with the introduction of these 2 new attributes, Terence briefly mentioned that we will be getting new gear, but unfortunately, no new weapons at this time. Now, this is where the list for all of the new content we will see into the next wipe ends, but we did get some info on what we should see soon in December or January. First, we have the new ice map that was teased in Discord over a month ago with this picture. Terence stated that they do have all the modules done and are just waiting for a few more PvE elements to make it really feel like a unique experience. The monsters he specifically hinted at were the Ice Giant and the Ice Dragon.
The enough level modules and stuff that we've kind of built out. But the thing is, then it would just feel like a reskinned, Howling Crypts or one of the maps right now, right? So the thing that's gonna actually make this map, this concept feel new is that there needs to be at least a minimum amount of new encounters, okay? And the thing is, like I alluded before, is we have one guy that's just he's a super masterpiece, expert in making these monsters, but it's one guy, right? Frost giants, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
There's gonna be our goal eventually is there's gonna be a dragon, right? Ice dragon. That's gonna be the super boss, right?
All right.
Yeah.
This also may be the first map that does not have the enclosing dark swarm, and instead some other round-ending function. Still undecided, but pretty cool. We also will not have the talent tree in November, as the team is still polishing out some class balancing, but we can expect this feature along with the flea market, which will exist alongside of our current trading post soon. From the brief discussion, it sounds like the new flea market will not behave exactly like an auction house, but more of a static price catalog. So in other words, probably no bidding, and instead just an option to buy out or possibly wager. Terence did mention that the Druid class was originally planned to be part of this content patch, but unfortunately there were some issues with how the class behaved on a mechanical level, mainly with how the player would be controlling their shapeshift form. Along with that, he did confirm that a bear form will be one of the shape-shifting species. Now, we're going to move into the content we can expect for at least 2 months, so likely post-January 2024. Anything discussed in this list was mentioned to be at an early stage of development and design, so of course no exact dates were given. First, we have the My Room, or now My Chamber area, which is planned to be a personalized and traversable player hub, where you can store your game trophies as well as test your weapons and build. Terence mentioned here that this concept is already tied into some of the game's lore, as we're all supposed to be travelers renting a room out at a faraway inn. With that, I imagine this game feature may even bring back some form of the tavern lobby that we had back in playtest number 4. Next, Terence discussed a possible return of the 3-map progressive adventure, but of course are still experimenting with duo queues as they're quite popular right now. One idea that is being tossed around at the moment is to return the runes as a starting map to the crypts, and then have a separate solo, duo, and trio queue for this map set, along with per floor matchmaking. This, as well as the conceptualized arena mode, is likely something that would be first tested with the Founder Edition's Trailblazers. So yes, the private testing servers are also currently in development. Finally, OnePeg and Terence briefly talked about the Ranger's Quiver and a dynamic backpack system, which were both intended to be equipable items and scaled with a resourcefulness in hopes to make it a more desirable stat. Not much detail was given on either of the items, but I imagine both will utilize our character's blocked out inventory expansion slots in some way. At the start of this video, I mentioned that we'll be taking a look at some of SDF's responses from Discord, So everything discussed from now on out will focus on those messages and how they tie into the content we currently have in development. When asked about new map resources, such as plants, SDF stated they actually already have a herb and potion crafting system made, but just not tested, so it hasn't been made public yet. The possibilities of a potion system are endless, and I can definitely see a large majority of the player base grinding out this kind of content. So overall, I think this is a pretty awesome idea. I imagine we may even see a return of clarity potions if this does get implemented. When asked about new spells, SDF mentioned that the magic lock is already implemented, but they decided not to include it in with patch number 1 due to some issues. I imagine this will function similarly to D&D's arcane lock and prevent players from interacting with the door for a short period of time. In the same response, SDF also stated that explosion is also planned to come, which of course sounds like a burst AoE damaging spell. Honestly, though it's not mentioned in the OnePeg interview, I could see these two spells making it in for the patch next week. Wishful thinking, I know, but Ironmace is full of surprises. When asked about more reporting improvements, SDF confirmed that the team is currently developing a death can, which I imagine will behave similarly to the one implemented in PUBG, so you could see exactly how you're slain from your killer's perspective. I think this is an awesome addition to the game, not just to combat potential hackers, but I also think it's kind of funny to see how you died. For some longer term plans, Melly asked SDF about a guild system, in which he replied that guilds will exist, but they are still far away from implementing them. If simply designed, I could see guilds just being an extension of the in-game friends list, and just provide a more reliable way for team building, but a more complex design could allow for guild adventure point scoreboards, and even a traversable guild hall that builds off of the My Chamber feature discussed earlier. Only time will tell with this one. The final message that I wanted to look at is the semi-cryptic list SDF posted way back when asked about classes. This may be well known for many of you, but I just wanted to highlight the original plan to implement all 13 of the Dungeons & Dragons classes from 5e. If you look at the date of this message, you'll notice that this list was posted over a year ago, in September, shortly after the second public playtest when they only had 6 partially completed classes at the time. Since that playtest, Ironmace has added the Bard and the Warlock, as well as a handful of other things like the Goblin Caves and its HR variant, the Runes map, 2 new bosses, over 20 unique monsters and their advanced versions, over 50 new weapons and items, the mining and crafting system, new merchants, more dungeon interactables and traps, early editions of the HR leaderboard, proximity and party VoIP, a cosmetic and emote shop, new spells and skills for the existing classes, a number of various quality life improvements, and a bunch more stuff that I probably missed. That's a ton of quality content for a game that was originally pitched to only have 3,000 concurrent players. Now, trust me, I was a bit disappointed when I first heard that the Ice Map and Druid were not going to make it in this update. But honestly, I would much rather them delay this stuff to take the time to make it the way they want to, rather than rush it. Anyways, just a full wipe alone is enough for me to get hyped again for this game. Oh, and I still think this will be a really great time for new players to join in as well, as the HR incentives introduced with this patch will definitely ease some pressure off of anyone who's just getting started. If I missed anything, or if you just want to share your thoughts, please message me below. I really do read all of your comments, though I do admit I have fell behind a bit recently. I apologize for that. Alright, that's all I have for this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.